Hey, welcome to our new channel direction. Future videos will not be so much about tutorials on how to get the best out of Rootsmagic, but comparisons with other software I use. I'm going to link out at the end of this video to a number of problems in Rootsmagic, many of which have still to be resolved. If you want to join the journey and learn how to get the best out of genealogy software and make your hobby more productive, then go down to the bottom right of the video, click the subscribe button, and then click the bell to get notifications of new videos. Some videos in the plan are firstly Rootsmagic webinar watch. You might wonder why, but having watched the webinars to date, there are a number of things patched over very quickly which I believe deserve some highlighting and some checks and balances. Secondly, Rootsmagic to Family Historian. It's been a long time coming, but I felt it unfair to produce this video while Rootsmagic were still ironing out problems and going through the public community preview. So out of decency and after 24 years of interactive loyalty to Rootsmagic, I delayed this production. Rootsmagic is now on version 8.1, so a program which should be stable and mature. So I feel now is the time when I should explain why I felt forced to move from Rootsmagic to Family Historian due to lack of development. Thirdly, Family Historian data views and queries. If I could only cite one reason for jumping to Family Historian, then the data views and query power would be that reason. Rootsmagic 8 may have been released, but the query power has not been improved at all, and after 13 years since this comment was first made, still does not offer the option to save complex queries for reuse. I use this a lot in Family Historian, and I feel it's warranted to have a video that details what can be extracted and reported from within the database that simply cannot be done in Rootsmagic. So you're all very welcome to join the journey. I try to keep my videos as short and to the point as possible, so you can grab and go rather than needing to schedule and set aside time. So let's get back to the reasons for this video. There's been a lot of feedback from users that say Rootsmagic 8 takes a lot longer to do things than Rootsmagic 7 ever did. Not only does it take more clicks, but the program acts slower, so your time drags out. Now anybody can realize that if things take longer and take more clicks, any researcher is going to get less data input and less work done. So is that true? This long-time user makes the statement that RM8 is certainly bloated in comparison to RM7. But really, some people are loving RM8, some people are saying they can't work with it, it's too slow, and Rootsmagic are really saying it's something that you need to get used to. There's no justification in getting used to something which is taking you twice as long to use. You're probably far better to stay with the previous version until all these issues are ironed out and Rootsmagic 8 becomes the more streamlined program that was always promised. So the framework of this video is to enter a family of 6 from a census, include all of the events, create a new source, attach media to the source citation, source all of the events, attach media to the census event, share the head of household to the other family members, and create the rules for those family members. This is not a speed test. I'll likely speed up the final production to stop people getting bored, but I'll also provide a link in the description to the real-time test for those who want to examine in more detail. My discipline is to always take the shortest possible route with a mouse, the least possible clicks to achieve any particular task, enter the same information in each test, and provide a link to the full test. All databases are starting as empty of people, places and sources. This is our new friend who doesn't lie, because many people think Rootsmagic 8 is actually more productive. So if you want to download Mousotron, it's free and you can use it to make your own comparisons and add comments down below this video if you find something different, not forgetting that Rootsmagic should improve over time. Now, I'm not being rewarded by any of the companies mentioned here, so this is completely unbiased facts coupled with opinions of my own, with a goal to making genealogy software better for all of us. So here's the 1901 census return we're going to be referencing. You'll see we have birthplaces, ages, residence address, and even a widower father to the family. And forgive me looking off to the side during the video as I'm referencing that document on a side monitor. So here we are in Family Historian. The first thing I want to explain is Family Historian works what most Rootsmagic people will think is backwards. So we start with the source, because all of the records and all of the data that I'm going to enter stem from this one census source. So I click on auto, I click select, add from template, click census, OK, confirm that. I'm just going to put page down in the citation. Media, I'm going to drag my media, this is Windows Explorer over here, drag it over and just confirm that I want it to go to the citation rather than the source record. Oh, user's choice. Don't copy link only, that's what I'm going to choose. So now I can close this and I can enable the automatic citation. So I go to add unrelated individual, I'm going to add an census fact. Add a residence. And an occupation. Now you can see down below that the source is there, and you can see in this window here that, you can see media against each of those facts. That's something that was long wished for in Rootsmagic but never came about. Users can express their own opinions as how Rootsmagic 8 works when the media is actually attached to the source or the citation. I still don't think it's easily visible without extra clicks. Here we can see that it is visible. And the other thing that we can do, and this is another long wished thing for in Rootsmagic, is if I highlight the census here, here's the copy button. So I copy that fact because we're going to add that fact to all of the individuals. So now we'll speed up the video. I'm going to go on and enter the rest of the individuals. So I'm dropping out of warp here, and you can see that we have the timeline view here for Robert, birth of daughter, birth of son, and here we have the census. So now I'm going to share that. I'm going to go through the steps to share that, probably speed up again here, and it won't be long until I'm finished. So that's me all done. Everything has been sourced. Media has been added to the citation. I'm just going to close this window. You can see before I leave here all of the roles which have been entered. Close this window. There's all of the facts for Robert. You can see that they all have media attached to them. This one has been shared. If I click on the share, I can see all of the sharees. I close that. I shouldn't really be doing this demonstration before I drop out of the count. So I'm going to take the mouse count now. So if we look at any of these now, we're not counting mouse clicks anymore. You can see that all of the media is here. James, and they're all sourced. Every event has a source. You look down the bottom here, they all have the same source. So the last thing I do there is I actually close the automatic sourcing. So here we are in Rootsmagic 7, same exercise. So easiest way to get into add a person is to click add a person. and OK. Add effect, census. So we want to add a source for all this information. So click here, add a new source. Census. It's not terribly, it doesn't make any difference to the test, but I'm going to choose this one. OK. And I'm going to put in and then the source details, page 1, 2, 3. Media, here's my image. Drag it over, one drop, in she goes. So there it is. I've got the media. I don't see any indication of the media here at the moment, but we know we have it. So I can memorize this and I can paste that to the other facts. Now we go to Robert. We'll finish up by sharing these events. So the census, I want to share that. I want to add multiple people. Really, I want to add them all. Edit. What is add new role type? This is Jane. Wife. Okay. Beatrice. New role. Daughter. Census is now shared with 5 people. This is Rootsmagic 7. You'll see on this screen that in the media column there's no indication that there's any media attached to any of these facts. If I click on the source for the census or any of these records, it tells me the census and a pop up there. And I click on it, I see Census of England, page 1, 2, 3. I don't see anywhere here any indication that there's any media attached to that. So I have to actually edit. And I still don't see any indication on this page that there's any media attached to that. So I'm stumbling through screen after screen trying to discover that if I click on the media tab here, there is actually media. And that was never acceptable in Rootsmagic 7. I'm not sure whether it's got an awful lot better in Rootsmagic 8. Users will be able to comment down below the video and tell me whether it has or it hasn't. So that's the end of our click count. That was an extra click to open this. There's probably about 10% of messing about. I remember there's a few more clicks there. So the click count here at the moment, I'm going to deduct the left button. I'm going to deduct 9 off it. There was a few extra clicks there that once I'd done it, I realized that I shouldn't have done. So I'm going to deduct 9 off that. So here we are in Rootsmagic 8. Now I wouldn't be as familiar with Rootsmagic 8 as I would have been with 7. So I'm going to, the most logical way from here is to add person. And I'm using the keyboard wherever possible and keyboard shortcuts rather than the mouse. Now, I know I can customize this, but I do have to point out that the place details are still not available from this screen. So that's going to result in extra clicks on the edit person screen later. So we're going to OK to that. Add fact. So for the census fact, I want a source and a citation. Sources, paste citation, add source citations. That's the only option I have here. Add a new source. England, Wales, next. No, that's the master source text. Okay. Remind me to deduct another, I'll deduct 9 again at the end of that. I don't think there was 9 clicks involved there, but that's being more than fair. So it's a citation I want. Source name, okay. Well, did that with the other ones. Next. Well, that's not good. I suppose I can send it. And what can we do now? Shall we try that again? I suppose we'll have to. Census, source, add source citation. We've got the census of Ireland, so we don't have to do that again. We'll do next. Okay, I just want to put my citation here. I'm not 100% sure which field I should be putting that in, the page information, so I'm just going to put it in research note here. You can't really see it there with the highlighting, but it is there. So there it is there. Master source, master source, citation, media. So I'm going to add media. I have to drop it in this case. So I go over here and I drop this into the middle. That's an extra step, by the way, from RM7. It's now there. Close. And we can now copy that, memorize the citation. Paste the citation. Just paste copy. The only thing we need to do now is to share that census with the rest of the family members. So open Robert's edit person screen. Here's the census and share fact. Do I need to pick these people one by one? I think I do. So Jane. Do I edit the role first or do I add another share? So share, Beatrice, okay. Edit, clicking on the role doesn't give you the choice to design a new role or change that role. So I can't do that for Jane. So let's look at Robert again. I think I got all the children there. If we go down, census, and there's 5 people sharing it. That is correct. Again, you'll notice in the media column here, there's no sign of any media. You know, there's no indication that there's media. If I click on the, let me click on the source. Let me click on one that's not a lifetime one. So again, we are in the, we can't see any indication here that there's media attached to that. If I click on that again, so So we can see now that there's media attached to that, but that's a couple of clicks deep. Family historian, you'll remember the indication of the media being present was right on the top of the screen. So I took the click count at 39 meters and 80 centimeters, the keystrokes 504, and the left button 193. I said earlier on I'm going to deduct 20 off that, so that takes us down to 173, and that's where we'll leave it. Well, the results are in and it doesn't look good for Rootsmagic. It's now confirmed that Rootsmagic 8 is even slower and requiring more mouse clicks than version 7. Rootsmagic 8 required an additional 56% of keystrokes in Family Historian, and that's after me making discounts. And it requires an additional 70% of left clicks. Whilst they said it wasn't a speed test, I think the time to complete the task is also indicative, and Rootsmagic 8 took me almost twice as long as the same task in Family Historian. With Rootsmagic now asking users to accept an additional click to see the place details when compared to Rootsmagic 7, suggesting the saving of files for resolving of broken links in a third-party application when Rootsmagic already has identified the broken links. You can see Family Historian has got that same feature, so why doesn't Rootsmagic? Refusing the wish list to include a facility to copy and paste facts after more than 10 years of asking, you can see that Family Historian already has that feature. Removing the possibility to add multiple people when sharing a fact. Refusing the long-term wish to include an undo feature to help users when they make an easy mistake. You can see again that Family Historian already has that feature. Not incorporating an automatic citation model when users are entering multiple facts from one source document. It stands to reason that this is the logical and productive thing to do. Still relying on Gazetteer for places and not incorporating a drag to map model for geocoding. Most genealogy software incorporates this drag to map model. I remember Family Tree Maker 2012 having such a model, but Rootsmagic still does not. So I'm sorry to conclude that the future does not look bright for Rootsmagic. I would certainly hope the developers are doing their best, but their best is falling far short of what the competition has to offer. Personally, I spent a bunch of time, over 24 years, trying to help Rootsmagic become just that top program, but the development just didn't follow. Family Historian 7082 now includes a direct Rootsmagic import, which brings in research logs, tasks, media linked, shared events, etc. And as we can see from the results here, is much quicker to use than Rootsmagic 8. I have a video on my channel which was the version of Rootsmagic just pre-release, and it shows the existing bugs and different things that were still to be resolved. If you look through the long version, which is linked in the description of this video, you'll see that Rootsmagic 8, I get an access violation error. I have, when I hit tab, it jumps into the wrong field. You'll see there's a number of bugs still existing there. If you want to stick with the channel, I'll try and show you things that are available in other software without you taking the risk of banning it and not liking it, because everything's a learning curve. Rootsmagic 8 is a learning curve, and so is other software. So you're very welcome to join me in the quest towards making our genealogy research more productive and fruitful. I would hope I can enlighten you and help you transition to a software package which best works for you and suits your needs. If you want to join me in the journey, click and subscribe down below bottom right of the video and check out these suggested short videos.